What really happens when we die, and what is the purpose of our existence? Will we ever know Jack the Ripper's true identity? How could Rasputin survive so many murder attempts? And what happened to that Liz Humphries singer's face for a brief moment, right in the middle of his Eurovision Song Contest performance? These are some of the biggest unsolved mysteries of our world. But no mysteries are bigger than the mysteries of Tomb Raider. In this series, I will be on a quest to solve the biggest mysteries of the games. Join me today on this quest to solve the mystery of Larson and Pierre. Not whether they are a couple or not, which has been a somewhat persistent rumor throughout the years, it seems. Valentine's Day is coming up though, and I can totally see it.
Come, let's get off this roof, and I will buy you a milkshake.
There is evidence, however, that Larson at least is more interested in Lara than Pierre.
I'll harness it right up your...
Wait, we're talking about the artifact here?
Damn straight we are, right up.
Hold on.
Larson, search her if you please.
Well, god darn if I don't get all the best jobs.
You want to try the back pockets?
Alright.
And Pierre did have this on the back of his jacket in the original game. Anyways, the mystery I want to solve in this video is how both Larson and Pierre appear in both the first Tomb Raider game and Tomb Raider Chronicles, and how both of them die in each game. This doesn't make any sense since both games are within the same continuity. So this begs the question, where does Chronicles fit within this continuity, and how could Larson and Pierre live and die twice? First of all, who are Larson and Pierre? Larson Conway is an American mercenary who seemingly just goes and does whatever he's paid to do without actually knowing anything about anything.
You and that driveling piece of the ski-on.
I always thought that the way he pronounced it, ski-on, was just his dumbass way of mispronouncing a word he doesn't understand, but he's right. It's ski-on, not scion. So, shame on me. This doesn't change the fact that Larson is a pretty dumb guy, however. By Chronicles, he has undergone a Joey Tribbiani-like flanderization that has turned him from a pretty dumb guy to a straight-up bumbling idiot.
You were kicked in the head by a horse, so the brain doesn't work correctly?
How'd you know about that?
Pierre Dupont, on the other hand, is more like Lara, a fellow tomb raiding adventurer from France who's well-versed in archaeology and history and fairly intelligent. In the first game, Pierre is actually quite intimidating due to his sporadic attacks on Lara. He is also quite talented, as he did beat Lara in the race to the tomb of Tihocan. The main difference between Pierre and Lara is that Pierre is typically hired to locate and raid tombs for a client, whereas Lara...
I'm sorry, I only play for sport.
In the first Tomb Raider game, Lara shoots both Pierre and Larson to death. Simple. In Tomb Raider Chronicles, Larson is seemingly killed off screen before we see his lifeless body being tossed across a courtyard. Could he have survived this? I think it's heavily implied that he didn't, but I guess he could. His body is missing afterwards. But this could, ironically enough, be official confirmation that he indeed did die, as this is how the game memory manages dead enemies. Larson can endure a lot of damage, however, so who knows. Pierre, however, well...
Give me your word that once you leave the pit, you will not lay a finger on me.
You have my word.
The stone? Now, Miss Croft, you gave me your word. Come now, Lara. Lara, you promised.
Boom!
Could you find it in your heart to help me up? I appear to be sleeping.
Pierre, you know nothing would please me more, but we have an agreement.
Agreement?
Not to lay a finger on you, remember, silly? Anyway, busy girl, got to go.
But
Ugh, did you hear that? That's the exact same sound as when Lara breaks her neck. There's just no way Pierre could have survived that. I'm almost more confident that he could have survived being shot in Greece than he could have survived this fall in Rome. The biggest clue that Pierre did in fact die here is not even that nasty bone fracture sound. It's the silence afterwards. There are no screams. What will happen to Lara if she suffers this exact same fall? Exactly what I thought. So, what a mess we have here. Larson definitely dies once and most likely twice, while Pierre definitely dies twice. In order to try and solve this mystery, we need to determine which adventure happened first. Since Tomb Raider Chronicles is a collection of shorter adventures in Lara's past, told by her friends after she has been presumed dead in Egypt, it's unclear how any of them fit within the overall Tomb Raider timeline. I have always been under the impression that Lara's search for the Philosopher's Stone in Rome is meant to have taken place before the events of the original game, which was her first grand adventure. In the opening FMV, Winston calls Lara's search for the Philosopher's Stone one of her early conquests.
One of Lara's early conquests.
Until he randomly decides it was her first after the section has finished.
And so ended the first of many.
So, which is it, Winston? One of her early conquests or the first of many? Yeah, we need to keep in mind that Winston is an old man who has spent his fair share of lonely nights inside a walk-in freezer, so perhaps he's not the most reliable person in the world for this sort of stuff. Thankfully, there is something that can help us determine whether this adventure took place before or after the events of the first game. And that's Lara's interactions with Larson and Pierre. In Chronicles, there's lots of banter between the three, especially in the opening FMV for this section. It seems like these three have crossed and conned each other multiple times in the past, and that all three of them are experienced in this whole tomb raiding business. Nothing in the first Tomb Raider game suggests any relationship even remotely like this between the three, other than perhaps Larson being a peripheral acquaintance of Lara's. So, this indicates that the Philosopher's Stone adventure in Chronicles happened after the events of the first game. Which would mean that Pierre and Larson would have survived being shot to death with numerous bullets in far remote places in Greece and Egypt respectively. It would also make their interaction with Lara in Rome highly bizarre, as I don't think this is how you would interact with someone who previously left you for dead in an ancient tomb. None of this makes any sense, so the Philosopher's Stone adventure simply cannot have taken place after the events of the first game, no matter how familiar Lara seems to be with Larson and Pierre in Chronicles. If we do it the other way around, that is, the adventure in Rome happened before the events of the first game, then I have a somewhat decent theory. When Lara enters the entrance to the Colosseum level of Chronicles, she actually steps through some sort of strange portal-looking opening that she can't leave again. As if it's the entrance to a pocket dimension. My theory is that within this portal there exists a mysterious time loop. Thousands of years old lions and gladiators somehow still live in the dungeons beneath the Colosseum because they are caught within this time loop. Every single day, this area simply resets. This could also explain why the gladiators and lions randomly seem to be on the same page when they see Lara, as they are simply tired of killing each other every single day for millennia. Lara is a fresh challenge at least. So while Pierre does die, he is resurrected the next day due to this mysterious time loop and thereby able to call Larson for help, who we just have to assume somehow survives that attack. Larson and Pierre then go on to work for Jacqueline Nadler, and so the events of the first game unfold. It's not a great theory, but hey, it's a theory. Finally, we need to consider something very important which might be key in trying to solve this mystery. Lara's adventure in Rome searching for the Philosopher's Stone is told by Winston. Maybe this entire adventure is just one long shaggy dog story told by Winston, who may be in early stages of dementia. He simply could be mixing up a lot of the details Lara has given him about her adventures throughout the years. It's very likely that Larson and Pierre never actually were in Rome at all. This could explain why both of them seem so much more buffoonish here than they did in the first game, as Winston is narrating off of whatever unflattering portrayal Lara gave him of the two in her recollections. I don't know, this mess is what happens when you want to bring back beloved characters just for the sake of it, without carefully respecting the details of that original narrative. Larson and Pierre simply can't exist in an adventure alongside Lara, neither before nor after the events of the first game. It's just not possible. Larson and Pierre live twice, or so it seems. One life for themselves, and one for their dreams.